Okay, so it seems that there's been a little bit of an update to the whole Demi situation. Now, if you guys don't remember, in the last video, we covered the fact that essentially she made a little statement talking about the fact that she was uncomfortable with certain art of her, and that she didn't want to see blank of it, for lack of a better term. But essentially, yeah, it was one of these whole things where I think it probably could have been explained a little bit better, and obviously went over that in the last video if you guys want to go look at that in more detail. But it seems like Demi has actually responded to a lot of the hate that she's been getting, especially over on Twitter and a lot of other places as well, because again, it has been literally everywhere. Like it's been absolutely insane to see. And well, she essentially goes ahead and puts this up recently, saying, "I was too busy in Japan to see what happened in Twitter. What I meant by NSFW, since a lot of people are confused, is I'm okay with lewd, never have not been okay with it. I just don't like seeing people, you know, do it, lol." So again, of course, you know, I think that's fair enough. And I think it is, you know, fair if you don't want your VTuber model to be used in that kind of way. And if that's, you know, something that you're uncomfortable with, I think that's totally fine, right? And again, maybe it probably could have been just kind of, I guess, communicated a lot better with the original post. But they say, "To me, being a bitch, that's nothing new, and I've never been nice to people I don't care about / respect. Y'all are so bored that someone that just doesn't like blank made you personally get riled up. I just genuinely can't really care. If you don't want to respect it or even try to see what I meant, I see no reason to be even respectful remotely to some losers. I'd be lying if I said I was sorry." And then obviously she continues on in a couple of different replies here. "Was it right to do what I did? No, but I never pretend to be a role model whatsoever, and openly hate other people, so who's surprised on that? To the people bringing up what happened with my relationship in the past, to say blow, we practically moved on from it too. If you actually watch my streams, he's on it all the time, and we're happy after just taking a break from streaming in Japan. I've never hid it whatsoever." So yeah, obviously a lot of people brought up her relationship whenever it comes to Chibi Reviews. Obviously Chibi Reviews asked a question about the whole thing, and you know, was telling her that she was like a virtual signaler or whatever. And then she responded saying like, "Aren't you the guy whose wife cheated on you?" Or whatever. And then a lot of people were saying it's kind of hypocritical or funny, considering she has also had some issues in relationships with some like abusive stuff. So again, and she, you know, apparently it's all better now and whatever, and she's got things sorted out, which is great for her. But of course, some people found it kind of ironic, I guess, that she was bringing up like relationships when she doesn't have the best track record, right? So yeah, they're saying, to the people who think I'm not a good VTuber, never did the norm, and I don't plan to cry about it. So yeah, obviously, going for like a very like double down kind of approach there for this, right? And then she goes on to say, "To add to this, I talked to my community about what people are saying. I was confused with some people calling me a hypocrite. I do advocate for mental health for women and men. I however don't care about Chibi. I made the mistake of saying the first thing that came out of my head when saying his username, but I should have been the better person and said nothing. I've learned to hold my tongue and in most things, but I legit got surprised seeing the username and the association with it." So yeah, obviously that's what we said in the last video as well. You know, she probably could have just answered his question or whatever, and you know, maybe not made that comment, and I don't think things would have exploded as much. You know, whether you think, you know, it's the right thing to say or not, I don't think it was. But again, I think it was just one of those things where, to avoid any extra drama or hate or whatever, you know, you kind of don't say that kind of stuff, because, you know, people are going to dog on you for it, and, you know, they're doing it right now, right? Saying, for people who think I'm backpedaling, no, I'm sorry for slipping up and thinking before talking, but I'm not sorry for what I said, especially that it was towards him. He's a piece of shit, and everything about him is disgusting to me. Not because he got cheated on, but because he's a weirdo in general. So obviously, yeah, she doesn't like Chibi Reviews, saying, "For the original post, I didn't make the post for people to delete art of me. I did it as a reminder that my stance, which hasn't changed. It annoyed me that people have the time to scroll on my page, but not take the time to literally read the OG post and reply not an hour after specifying exactly what I meant. So yeah, it annoyed me when all the blue badges came crawling in. My bad to my community. for getting into drama again. I know I'm not losing anything valuable whenever it comes to this type of crowd, pancake and waffles. Also, I'm not stupid. I know me saying my stance on the whole blank thing isn't going to change, isn't going to stop people from doing it. The post was for people who cared about my stance. So yeah, I mean, that's fair enough, right? And, you know, we did mention that. It's one of those things where people will start to do it more, especially if you say that you actively don't like him. We've seen cases of this happening all the time. So yeah, of course, that is a little bit of an issue, but obviously she understands that, and she's just saying it kind of for her community, the ones that obviously respect that kind of decision. They will obviously listen to that. So yeah, I mean, the original post in terms of like the what Demi said about the art and everything like that, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, right? She can say that she doesn't like you know, blank being made of her or anything like that. That's totally normal. But obviously, yeah, she talks about the fact that she did mess up in terms of, you know, what she said, but still doesn't you know, like Chibi or whatever. Now, there has been some other stuff as well I've seen about potentially some copyright stuff, which is very, very interesting. Obviously, we'll go into that more if it does get confirmed, because again, you know, that isn't great either. Apparently, she's been copyright striking older videos that have been made on her. Again, all of my videos are fine, so, you know, I don't know about that, but you know, obviously some people have been affected by that, so that's also something that people have been talking about too. Obviously a lot of people have been kind of commenting saying, honestly, kind of iconic, like these people can constantly be so rude and hateful, and you're expected to be the bigger person, saying, so you're a massive bitch who mocks people for traumatic events that made them suicidal. Got it. Good to know. If you actually didn't bother to do any introspection, you're a sad person, and it speaks to your true nature. He said, yeah, honestly, if we're talking about Chibi here, I don't sincerely care. I was genuinely surprised he was the guy. Saying, I feel like that should have been obvious to them. If we say NSFW, a lot of the times it's about people getting blanked or nudity, which, again, I don't think it is completely obvious. I think that anybody saying that this post makes it extremely obvious as to what she likes and doesn't like from this post alone, it doesn't, right? Now, this clarification does help it out a little bit, but as I said, I think, you know, of course, this has got 600,000 views compared to the 5.3 million. Of course, it sucks that people can't go down to the replies or whatever and look at it. But again, it's just one of those things where, you know, that's just how Twitter works. People will see it on their timeline, right? And they won't look into the replies. So again, people are going to get mad at that. So that is something to kind of consider. And again, I think that saying, you know, I'm uncomfortable with NSFW out of me wasn't exactly the right train of thought, because it seems like she's okay with some NSFW stuff, right? It seems like she's okay with a couple of things. It's just more so like the actual, you know, action of doing it, that she doesn't like being, you know, depicted in art with her model or whatever, which I think is, you know, definitely a big, there is a big like discrepancy between them. But of course, yeah, it is interesting. Now, of course, there was also one thing that also made people unhappy about this, which was she essentially said that she was addressing the drama, and she said, live right now, twitch.tv, Deme 24/7. Now, again, a lot of people were like, oh, whoa, you know, she's actually going live to go talk about it. And whenever I first saw this, I was like, okay, it's one of these things where I was like, there's no way she's still talking about this, right? Because there's replies, and she's replied so many times to this, and I'm just like, okay, well, there seems to be enough. There seems to be enough, right? You know, you don't need to keep replying to this. You need to like reply once maybe, and then just kind of leave it at that, and just kind of let things, you know, as they are, because people are just going to continue on and on and on if you keep on replying. But essentially, she put up this post here saying, addressing the drama, which was live on Demi 24/7, and I was like, oh god, here we go. She's starting to, she's going to talk about it on stream. But it turns out it literally just like gave a link to her 24/7 channel as usual. I thought potentially she was putting it on her 24/7 channel to avoid a lot of people going to her main channel, and that's why she was talking about it on over there. But she didn't talk about it at all. It turns out that apparently a lot of people got debated, and they were just kind of tuning into a 24/7 stream that I'm pretty sure, I don't know about her specifically, but a lot of them have max ads on. So pretty much just farming money off of them, which, to be honest, I'm going to be real. You know, despite everything that's happened and some of the stuff that she said that I don't agree with, I find it kind of funny, right? I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I find it kind of funny just sending people over to a 24/7 channel and they're just there waiting. But obviously some people were very, very mad at the same time. And I can also understand why you're mad because, you know, you've been waiting that entire time and she essentially made you look like a mug. Yeah, they say, yeah, but they want to farm Twitter engagement because they're poor ref. Then weird responses and now the drama farming starts. So yeah, obviously a lot of people saying it makes it worse for herself. So yeah, a lot of people were unhappy because the stream essentially was just a playback of her VODs as usual on her 24/7 channel. So yeah, I mean, as I said, I think that's kind of funny, but obviously a lot of people didn't take that too well. And I think that's understandable why people didn't take it too well, but also kind of funny. But yeah, as I said, with everything else, with this situation though, I do think she did mess up in terms of, you know, how she's handled things at least. And again, you know, I think the reply, you know, it doubles down quite a lot. A lot of people aren't going to be happy with that either. But I think the original post was fine. Again, it's all coming from this original post. At the end of the day, I think that she's entitled to, you know, ask people not to make blank of her in terms of art, and that's about it, right? But of course, it did kind of spiral after a couple of replies and stuff on Twitter. So yeah, that's essentially all I got for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameStop, use my code Kaza, get 10% off again. They've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. So yeah.